I'm here with Justin Taylor, an Indianapolis native and a football enthusiast, also heavily involved in fantasy football across many different leagues. He's been able to pretty much garner enough respect across all of our friends, and it's kind of been a thing that we've been able to kind of have as a competitive way to kind of distribute our energy. But first, I just kind of want to introduce Justin and have him tell us a little bit about himself.
Like my man said, Justin Taylor from Indianapolis, Cathedral High School, my boys. I work at a climbing gym, 25 years old. Played numerous sports, track, baseball, basketball. Like I said, I climb still as an everyday thing. Favorite teams, all Chicago teams, but diehard Bears fan. Don't play with my Bears.
So, when did you first start playing fantasy football?
About 5 years ago, 6 years ago, is when we started the league with all the friends and all that, keeping contact throughout college and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those like networking things. So,
Mhm.
does that make you kind of view fantasy football like recreational, like just for the boys, or it's competitive?
It's a job.
It is.
It's a part-time job, bro.
It
We
is.
playing for that pot. I need my money on time.
When money's involved, that's when people get the blood going.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That's when your friends turn to foes real quick.
Man,
Personally,
real
I
quick.
know that. But is that kind of like what makes you drawn to fantasy football? Is that competitiveness?
Oh, absolutely. Anything competitive, because I have just a competitive nature. I'll turn walking down the hallway into a race if need be. So, yeah, definitely.
Speaking of being competitive, how are you doing right now with your fantasy teams?
Actually, I'm doing pretty good compared to my past few years. I'm doing pretty good. We playing a different setup this year in terms of making the playoffs, but I'm tied for second in my division, so we doing all right.
Still a lot of football to be played.
Still a lot of football to be played, so we'll just see week to week.
Week to
Any
week.
given Sunday.
Any given Sunday, ain't that the truth? So, who are the kind of the big names on your team right now? Who's kind of making plays for you?
You know, I had Tom Brady, and he's showing his age.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really, I got to probably give it to Ben Roethlisberger showing up. Brandon Cooks shows up for me every week. And really, man, you know they say the game is won and lost by the kicker. So, I mean, really, Justin Tucker, man. Tucker.
It's crazy.
Justin Tucker he's been on that money. So,
Especially
I
with
give it to my kicker.
kickers missing extra points nowadays.
Man, and they can say they can make or break your week. So
I've had to learn that the hard way. So is there something in fantasy football you think could be kind of improved, or something you don't really like, or is everything kind of just year by year you just kind of take what's given and
year
kind of
by
roll with
year,
it?
take what's given. I mean, we have a real structured format with our league. So I mean, we just vote. We have it's very much set up like the actual NFL with our league. So there's nothing to change. If I could change anything, I get a couple more star players.
That's real. So like DeAndre said, do you view draft day as, the kind of the pinnacle of the entire league? Is that where kind of things kick off? Because I know everybody.
Absolutely, draft day is draft day. You're gonna get really it starts before draft day. It come when that draft order comes out. That's when it gets funky. That's when it all kicks off. Is when that waiver wire comes out and you see exactly where you're gonna draft. But draft day it's the pinnacle. But I mean, it's not how you finish the race. It's not how you start the race. It's how you finish the race.
That's so real.
So,
Do you think you've kind of improved over the years with your fantasy football
absolutely.
knowledge? Yeah.
I was at the bottom of the totem pole, but now, like I said, we're at the top, and it's getting lonely.
Do you think that people kind of, with gambling being a big thing now, do you think people will kind of incorporate that into fantasy football?
Absolutely. I think gambling should be legal for sports. I mean, it adds a competitive nature to it even more. I mean, we don't like to make some skrilla.
Right. So, is there anything that you think fantasy football will need in the future? Do you think it'll be more incorporated digitally, or do you think it'll just stick to the same thing it is now, or do you think it'll kind of digress because of everything else that's going on?
I think it'll maintain because I mean you got things like FanDuel, DraftKings, to where if you want to go play fantasy for some money against some random people, you could do that. But I see in terms of like the ESPN, CBS, I see that format doing just fine. Cause I mean they ain't skipped a beat, and like I said, we've been going for 4 or 5 years strong now, and we ain't missed a beat. So it's gonna keep going for the next 20 years. As long as they got football, we're gonna be playing fantasy.
Yeah, that's the real thing about right now is whether football can be able to keep itself alive, because everybody seems to be eating off of football nowadays.
That's it. I mean, everybody's eating off everything, man. People been betting on horse races since the beginning, and the Kentucky Derby's still going strong. So I could see it actually helping the NFL. I can see it bringing the NFL some money if the NFL knows how to handle their business right. And Roger Goodell, handle your business. So
you can get more fans that way too,
right?
Not just the regular people that right. 11 on 11.
Yeah, because I mean, like Dre said, your mom plays and all that. Now, so it's a way to incorporate the whole family and get get women more involved within football, because women typically only watch like basketball. You know, so
something
I mean,
they can,
yeah. So I mean, it'll help branch everyone together within the world of sports and in the world of football.
There you have it. That was my my little spiel with Justin Taylor about fantasy football.
Right on, man. Root for me the rest of the season.
We appreciate you guys. I'm here with DeAndre Williams, a fantasy football enthusiast. We're here to talk about his love and passion for the game, where it came from, where it is now, and where it is going. But first, I'd like to ask DeAndre just to introduce himself a little bit, tell him his name, age, and a little bit of background.
What's up, guys? My name is DeAndre Williams. I'm 25 years old. I come from Cathedral High School, Indianapolis, Indiana. I went to Indiana University, studied liberal arts, environmental science, information sciences. I've played basketball, football, and track, and I enjoy, favorite teams are the Colts, the Pacers, also like Baltimore Ravens football team, and the Los Angeles Lakers.
So, first starting off, I'd like to get out to kind of your beginning of fantasy football. When was your first memory of actually playing the game?
Fantasy football, I was first, I don't know if you guys remember those, the big advertisements and commercials they used to do with like all the women in lingerie. It was, they have a commercial, it was like, ooh, come live out your fantasy with your football team. I don't know, those commercials always just attracted me, and I always enjoyed the game and the sport and all that. So I first started getting involved in fantasy football probably around maybe 2005, 2006, I'd say, pretty around my middle school, around that age, 13, 14. And I remember specifically that Marshawn Lynch was one of my draft picks on my first ever fantasy football team.
Beast mode.
Beast mode for the Buffalo Bills, before he was beast mode.
So, on average, how many fantasy football leagues are you in per year?
Well, since that time, my introduction, I was only in one, but since then I've gotten way more into it, and I'm in about 3 to 4 leagues a year now.
Would you make it seem that fantasy football is more competitive, like an actual sporting event, or is it more like recreational, sort of like a favorite pastime?
Well, for me and my group of friends and family, it's become more of a competition, like not necessarily a sporting event, but a avenue to display competitiveness for sure. And I have enjoyed that. It started off recreationally, but now it's definitely moved to more of a competitive outlet for my family and friends.
What's your favorite part about fantasy football? Is it just sort of like the nuance of it, or is it sort of like puts everybody? Because I know a lot of people like fantasy football because it really tests a football fan's knowledge of the game, their players. So is that something you kind of enjoy about it, or you just kind of the week to week kind of fresh start to it is what you enjoy?
Oh yeah, all of those are definitely included in the aspects of what I enjoy of it. But for me, the number one thing I enjoy most is probably got to be draft day. When you getting everything, all your research and putting it all together from the season, the off season, putting it all together, and then that's the day where you got to make it all happen. No ifs, ands, and buts from there on. And draft day is always fun. Seeing if you're gonna get the players you wanted, or seeing how to bounce back and still make a good team when you're not able to get the people you want. Draft day is hands down my favorite aspect of fantasy football.
Speaking of draft day, how do you feel your teams are doing this year? You feel like you're doing pretty well?
Yeah, I've been blessed by the fantasy guys this year. I say I'm in 4 leagues, and 3 of them I'm 8-1, only lost 1 game, and the other league I'm 6-3, and so I got winning
Take
records.
notes.
Yeah, man. My off-season research was fruitful this year.
Has named some of the big names of your teams. Who's kind of putting in that work for you week to week?
Oh yeah, man. Todd Gurley, representing for the Los Angeles Rams. He's a fantasy monster. Anybody who has him on his team is reaping
fighting
the
chance every
benefits.
week.
Yeah, definitely. But my sleeper pick, shout out my guy James Conner from Pittsburgh, drafted in the 15th round.
No one saw that coming.
No one saw that coming. I'd like to thank the ESPN analysts and their mock drafts for
helping you out.
giving me that knowledge on James Conner.
Have you participated in different kind of platforms like Yahoo versus FanDuel versus ESPN, or have you always kind of stuck with ESPN?
ESPN has been the primary
it's a lot
platform
easier.
that I use. However, I wouldn't be opposed to learning the interfaces of the other platforms.
Is there anything right now in your fantasy football experience that you think either helps or hurts it?
My fantasy football experience, what may help or hurt it, I still haven't figured out what it is, which one it is yet. But the sports analysis in the mass media, the ESPN analysis, the NFL Network analysis, they always want to give you advice from week to week on who they think is going to be the good play or not. And I haven't decided if they're really trustworthy or not yet, but you know what I'm saying? They're the experts, though.
Hell yeah. All right, that's all I got. Thank you for joining me and talking about your fantasy football experience.
No
we appreciate
problem.
it. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Gang.